Hey everybody, this is Dr. Dave Marquis, and I had a thought for you, and actually a request that I wanted just to extend out to all human beings that love children. Many of you who have watched my videos, you know that I have 4 kids, and I've truly loved being their dad and raising them. And I've got 2 of them out of the house now, 2 still at home, and you know, it's hard to put into words, particularly in a little short video, how a dad feels about their kids, but I'd do anything for my kids. And I think most parents feel the same. Something's happening right now that is really alarming to me. And I wanted to just share why it's alarming to me, and then you do what you will with the information. As adults, we're able to make our own decisions as to, or at least we're supposed to be able to make our own decisions as to what we do with our body. For kids, they don't have that same degree of autonomy, and they need some guidance. And subsequently, we have parents, and they're there to protect them during those formative years, to get them to the point where they can make educated and informed decisions for themselves. This whole process of using inoculations to chase a virus has really kind of blown up in the faces of humanity. And it hasn't been nearly what it was promised to be, and in many cases it's been the exact opposite for many unfortunate souls. The impact that this infection has had on children has been infinitesimally small in terms of its total risk load. And yet, due to governmental mandates and, in my opinion, the potential for a huge monetary benefit in perpetuity for these pharmaceutical companies, they're really trying to get a whole nother market share by having a classification of use for kids. In my opinion, that's wrong. And here's why. They're not at risk. Their potential for negative side effects long term is completely unknown. There's been no research on it. And the things that we have seen have not been promising. So just on that basis alone, I'm blown away when I hear the consideration of taking these inoculations and putting them into pediatric schedules. That's wholly inappropriate and way too early. Maybe 10 years from now, after they've seen what the effects are long term. But I, for one, am not in the comfort zone with that whole concept of saying, yeah, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice the future of my child's life for a 1/100th% chance that this might save them from an infection that they had a 99.99% chance of recovering from anyways. That the risk to benefit is just not there. So, for what it's worth, I would encourage anybody within earshot of this video to please reach out to your political bodies in whatever state or country you live in and ask them, plead with them to just put a pause on this. Put the brakes on and let's do some proper research. Let it play out for at least the 7 to 10 year period that would be normal for anything that's coming to market prior to this whole debacle that we've been living through. I think that's a reasonable request. And just remember, who is liable if your child is harmed? In the moment that you're having this conversation with your pediatrician or your nurse practitioner or your school or your place of business, ask them, are they willing to take on the liability of any negative action that might happen to you or your child after inoculation? Because the pharmaceutical companies are not liable. They're indemnified under the emergency use, and then if they get put onto the pediatric schedule, they're still indemnified. So it's this perpetual indemnity that isn't something that you or I benefit from, and certainly not our kids. And if you, me, or the kids are injured, well, you're going to have to figure out how to deal with that for the rest of their life. That's something that really needs to be considered. And I hope and pray that everyone addresses that for what you determine to be right for you. But generally my videos are a little bit more upbeat. This one's a little bit more somber, and it's because I think that we really need to address this immediately and stop the wheels from rolling over us as a society and as people who should have bodily autonomy and not be subjected to something that has so many negative things happening right now and so much negative potential in the future and things that we're completely unaware of. We need a break. I hope that message touches you in the heart, and I hope that each of you take action and reach out to the powers that be that you have the capacity to touch. Each of us has a circle of influence, and we can do what we can do within our circle of influence, and then we've just got to give it up to God. And so I'm doing what I can within my circle of influence. You do the same, please. Have a great day.